Hello, my name is Kishore here, and I'll be presenting the video KB today on configuring data type mapping in data archive. So to start with, this will be the agenda for the KB. I'll be initially explaining on what is data type mapping. Following, I'll be showing the UI for ILM and explaining on how to configure the data type mapping and why the data type mapping is useful and how to go ahead. And following, we'll be having a short session on the common issues that we might encounter and how data type mapping acts as a solution to those issues. And finally, on a few KB articles that are related to the issues that I will be explaining on. To get started, what do you mean by data type mapping? So when you archive the data to the data vault from a particular source, ILM maps the data type of the source to the data type of the data vault. So there could be exotic data types in the source for which ILM maps it to one of the 8 data types that are seen in the data vault. So this mapping is done in the loader job, and it maps it to a data type that is existing in the data vault. So say you have several scenarios. Say you have n varchar in the source, it will be mapped to varchar in the data vault, and similarly for the other data types as well. So I'll be showing a screenshot where the mappings is seen and how it can be manipulated in the next slide. So you have the option to manually map the data types to custom archive data type. Ideally this is done in case of issues and in cases when there is no data type mapping also. So the example I am suggesting here is we can create a custom data type address for data type named address for alphanumeric values of length 100 digits, but this address ideally it's not a standard data type that you expect in the databases. So while mining in the EDM, the data type might come up as address itself, but when you load this kind of data to the vault as part of the loader job, the job might error out with data type address mapping for the data type not found. In such a situation, you'll need to map the address to a varchar data type. So like this is the case when you forget to perform the data type mapping for this address data type. In case you have done it, the job should go through fine. And the length of the field, so that also can be configured in the data type mapping. So going to the next slide, configuring the data type mapping. So to access the data type mapping, we need to go to the administration menu and click on data type mappings for the data vault. So I'll be showing the screenshot now. This is a sample screen. This is a ILM UI that you see here, and here I go to the administration menu and choose data type mappings for file archive. So these are the various data type mappings that are already pre-configured. So if you see here, these data type mappings are valid for all the connections. So that is irrespective of the connection type that you choose, this will be the data type mapping. So the screen that you see here, say here XML type is it's mapped to UDCLOP type in the data archive, and a long var G data type is mapped to the CLOP. So say I'll show a case for varchar. I'll just search for char and give a filter. So it will give us various data types and what it is mapped to. So the connection type, here you have all connections, and so you have a varchar 2 connection, and it is mapped to the varchar in the target file archive, that is the data vault. Another important point to note is you need to provide the length multiplier. So in certain cases, the data type length seen in the source would not suffice to accommodate the same value in the file archive. So usually if you see, the length multiplier of 2x or 4x is added. So if it is varchar 2 of 2 in the source, based on this condition, say if it is equals to, it is mapped to varchar of 2x. So 2x means 2 times this length. So it would be mapped to varchar of 4 in the target. And the third condition, another important point to note here is the varchar 2 column, it is mapped to 3 operators. So this is an important point to note. Whenever a data type mapping is configured, all the 3 conditions need to be provided, or else it should be no condition. That is for the cases when there is no expected length that is being present in the source. That would be the case for, say, a data type like n varchar of max for SQL Server. If you see, the length is set to max, which means ideally there is no number that can be configured. So in such cases, when it is n varchar of max or for similar cases, there will not be an operator. So otherwise, if you expect a length to be present, the three conditions, that is equals, less than, and greater than, needs to be provided. So, and a similar one in the target. So now I'll be going ahead with the presentation. Ideally, data type mapping, we come to the creation of data type mapping or modification of data type for three issues. The first case is the data type mapping itself is not present for that particular type of data type in the ILM data archive. So that would be identical to the case of address that I explained earlier. And other two common issues that arise for which manipulation of an existing data type mapping is required is for the string truncation error and numeric truncation error. So a string truncation error ideally is the case where a particular data type mapping is already present for that data type, but data archive, when performing the loader job, it is not able to accommodate the particular value in the string within that length that is specified in the vault. So I'll be showing a live scenario where we have a string truncation error and how to resolve that issue. And the third common issue again that we face is the numeric truncation error. So ideally this happens when you extract a number and it is being loaded to an integer or, say, a decimal data type on the data vault. And so there could be cases where the value of integer that is present in the source, it has a different range compared to what the data vault can accommodate. In such cases, we'll be getting a numeric truncation because that particular value will not be able to be loaded onto the vault with that data type that is configured. Even for decimal, there could be cases where the scale and precision, whatever is configured in the source, and the value extracted from the source, and that value is extracted in such a way and loaded to the vault that the particular scale and precision in the vault is not having enough room to accommodate the value that needs to be loaded. So this is another case. So I'll be explaining a live demo and showing the case for the string truncation error, because that is usually what we see for many of our customers. So going to the string truncation error part now. Here I have a job that has failed with the string truncation error. So job number 126, error 30150, string truncation. So if you see this job, it is telling the job has failed with error string truncation for the table, test table across the test column. So and the staging directory, I'll just be going to the directory to show what is the kind of string that is present. cd -ltr /-28. So this is the directory where that BCP will be present. Cat. So this BCP file is the BCP file that is extracted as part of the job execution. So if you see, it's got a lot of Chinese characters that are multi-byte UTF-8. So sometimes what happens is the multi-byte UTF-8 characters, the default mapping is either 2x or 4x depending on the source data type. I think this is for an n varchar data type that I was trying to load the data for. So it is ideally a 4x, but sometimes if it is having UTF-8 that are extended multi-byte characters in the source, even though if it is 4x, it will not have sufficient room to accommodate the value. So if you see for the source that I am trying to set up the data type mapping, let me just open the EDM. So this is the particular test table for which I hit the string truncation error. So the column that had the Chinese character was n varchar of 65 at the source, but let's see what is the data type mapping that is configured for n varchar in the data archive. So I'm just going to administration data type mapping for file archive and searching for n varchar. So here currently it is configured to 4x. So, but seems that room is not sufficient to accommodate the 4x room is not sufficient to accommodate the Chinese character. We'll need to create a new data type mapping. So I'll just create it for nvarchar operator greater than 65 varchar. I'll create it as try with 5x this time, same, and we'll need to create it for the less than and equals to as well. I'll just create it and get back. So currently I have created the nvarchar data type mapping to make it a varchar of 5x in the target. So it needs to be noted that always a user defined data type mapping, it takes precedence over the system defined mappings, because data archive knows that there is a user defined mapping, meaning the user does not want the actual mapping that is present for all the connections to be used. So it will be using up the user defined mapping for the nvarchar, and here I have created it for all the connections. So what this would do is, currently even though my source is SQL Server, it will use the mapping for all the connection types. So you have the option to configure the data type mapping only for the SQL Server, only for the Oracle, because there could be cases where you know that there is an issue with SQL Server where this particular room that has been provided, the link for the data type, is not sufficient to store the value. So only for SQL Server nvarchar you want to create the mapping for, then you need to edit the mapping and make it a connection type as only for the SQL Server. So again, there is version. So this version is equivalent to the version that you have provided in the source connection type. So when you go to the source connections, manage connection, and you go to a particular source connection that you have configured. So here if you see, it is for SQL Server 2008. So if it is across this connection where the truncation error comes, you need to specify that particular connection type. Or else if you think it's a generic mapping that I need to create across all the connections, you can create it for the all connections option. So now let me just go ahead and resume the job that had failed with the string truncation error. This one, right? Yeah. Resume job. Okay, so let the job start now. Yeah, so here we go. If you see now, the job resume has succeeded after modification of the data type mapping. So earlier we had the string truncation error, and again I resumed the job, and after creation of the data type mapping and resume of the job, it has succeeded. So an important point to note is that in case you get a job that fails with string truncation error or numeric truncation, you modify the data type mapping and resume the job, the new mapping gets picked up and takes it into effect. So let me just go back to my presentation. So we just discussed the string truncation error, and I also explained the data type mapping and numeric truncation error cases as well. So so that would be from the demo perspective across data type mapping and configuration, and also a sample demo on what to do if you encounter a string truncation error and why the case arises after all, and how data type mapping resolves the issue. So an important KB article that I would like you folks to see is this KB ID that I've referred here. So this KB explains on the data type mapping issues that you face with data archive. So there could be other errors that you encounter as well, leading to a change of data type mapping that should resolve the issue. So these are the ones that are highlighted. So the KB ID is 319092. It also has links to other KBs that explain on best practices for data type mapping and what to do when you face string truncation error and numeric truncation error, invalid numerical value error, and a few other cases for which the data type mapping will be helpful. So I would suggest you folks to take a look into the KB in case you feel that you are encountering any of those issues. So that should be it for this video, KB. So we would like to hear a feedback from you on a new KB that you need to understand what a new scenario is or what to do in case of any issues. So feel free to contact us on the email that is mentioned, and also on Twitter also you can tweet on your requirements that you think that we need for a video KB or a feedback on any KB that you have seen. Thank you very much. This is signing off Kishore from Informatica. Thank you.